In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make beats that sound like this. For artists that look like this. Yo, what's up guys? Today we got the highly anticipated Molchat Doma tutorial. In my opinion, Molchat Doma is basically like the peak influence for like all modern era post-punk music. So this video is going to be super fun to make. I got a haircut finally. That's pretty cool. Recently, I've been thinking of making a Discord server. I had a Discord server like last year and it was pretty cool. It had like 2,000 people in it, but the problem is I just don't use Discord. Like I genuinely just don't use the platform, but at the same time I do really want to have like this really cool hub for like alternative rock indie production, because it's a community that I want to kind of push forward and like, you know, build and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if that's something that you guys want, let me know in the comments, and if enough people want it, maybe I'll make it happen. I'm gonna quit the rambling now. Let's go ahead and go over this beat. I'm gonna break this beat down in the order that I actually made it, which is going to be probably not typical to the usual producer route. So a lot of people would typically start with the melodic aspects and then work their way to the drums. I like to start with the drums, and there's two reasons for that. One is because I feel like the drums really formulate like the vibe of the entire track. They're very essential to the genre. And two, I find it way easier to record my guitar to actual drums. A lot of people have no problem recording to a click track or a BPM. I don't like doing that at all. I find it way easier to record when the drums are already done. So let's go ahead and go over the drums. For the drums in this beat, I'm going to be using a combination of two of my sample packs, one of them being the Prologue drum kit and the other being the Machine Classics drum kit. You guys can actually go ahead and download the Machine Classics pack 100% free. I went ahead and sampled the Lin drum machine, which is the exact drum machine used in pretty much every Molchat Doma track, as well as the Roland TR-505. Those are like the two most iconic drum machines for post-punk, and I went ahead and sampled them below. And then my Prologue kit, which is 100% unique samples inspired by artists like Molchat Doma. It's got drum loops, drum MIDI, drum samples, all that cool stuff. But anyways, we're going to start off with a very simple snare that's going to sound like this. And then we are going to go ahead and add a kick that's going to sound like this. This is pretty much the entire basis of the drums for this track. I think the kick and the snare are the most important and the parts that you always want to start with when it comes to the drums for these post-punk tracks. And yeah, it's very simple. After that, I decided to add this hi-hat pattern with a triplet bounce. So basically I went ahead to this top right corner, I clicked this arrow, I went to snap, and I did 1/3 step, which just allows you to super easily make triplet bounces. And as you can see, it's hitting very frequently. And we're doing the typical hi-hat velocity trick to make it sound like it's a real drum playing. You can see I kind of follow the shape where the first note is hitting at max velocity, it dips down, goes up, and then goes all the way down. Not really explaining this the best, but I'm just gonna go ahead and play it for you. You're probably going to notice that there were some holes in that triplet hi-hat pattern, and that's because I went ahead and got a drum machine open hat to fill those gaps and just add to that kind of drum machine vibe. So with the open hats, the pattern is going to sound like this. So that is the core of our drum pattern. The kick and the snare are going to play throughout the entire beat, and then the closed hat and open hat are going to play for the choruses and eventful parts of the beat, and they're going to be removed for the verses. After this, we're going to add the percussive elements to the beat, which is going to emulate the iconic drum intros of Molchat Doma, as well as just generally post-punk as a whole. We're going to start off with a tom that sounds like this. Then I'm going to add the shaker. It's not typical to the post-punk genre, but I just thought it sounded cool. After that, we're going to add a conga. After that, I'm going to add this bell perk. Then the Lin drum clap. And then I'm going to add a cowbell, and all together, our accenting percussions are going to sound like this. And that is going to conclude the drum pattern for this beat. Like I said before, the kick and the snare, those are the primary aspects of the drum pattern. If you're really feeling it, you can go ahead and add some closed hats or some open hats and make a cool, funky something. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go over the mixing for the drums. So there are two key players for this. One is gonna be this RC20 on the master. You guys probably already heard that there was some vinyl playing, and that is because of the master. So I'm using the RC20 vinyl 1 preset. I'm turning the wobble all the way down because it's on the master, so I don't want that. And I'm turning the magnitude down so it doesn't like kill the track. And then I'm using a fruity compressor, so I'm turning the threshold down a bit, making sure that the attack is pretty low. The ratio is 4:1 and the release is somewhere around here. I'm not a compressing master. I just wanted to do this because there were some aspects of the track that were super loud and some that were super quiet, and the compressors just kind of whatever. And then I'm going to go ahead and take all of the drums. I'm going to click control and drag it over. There's 12 tracks. I'm going to then pick an empty track, which is track 13. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click route to this track only. That's going to create a bus for the track. And on this bus, I'm going to add a fruity reverb. I'm going to turn the H cut all the way up and turn the decay up a little bit as well. And then we're going to throw another RC20 with the vinyl 1 preset. And this time I'm going to turn the magnitude down about 75%. This one has way more distortion. You definitely want to utilize a lot of any lo-fi plugins. So I'm using RC20 and I do really enjoy that plugin. However, I'm sure we all are aware of Izotope Vinyl. It's free. I'll leave a link down below, and it's an amazing lo-fi plugin. Yeah, you can change the year, you can change the warp depth, scratch, dust, wear, all that stuff. So you can basically get the exact same RC20 kind of effect. But that's how I mix the drums. You just want to add some reverb and some lo-fi presets from something like RC20 or Izotope Vinyl. Really quickly, guys, if you are enjoying this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could leave a like and maybe hit subscribe if you want to stick around. If you guys want to join my free VIP mailing club, I'm going to leave a link down below. You guys get access to weekly free alternative sample pack that I send to your inbox directly to you. You also get access to my legacy vault with every single free sample pack I've dropped, as well as demos for all of my paid sample packs, free advice, free tips, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a really cool community, so if you guys want to go ahead and join that, I'm going to leave a link down below. Let's go ahead and get right back to the video. All right, so now we have the melody. We actually only have 4 layers to the melody, so it's not very complicated. We have the bass, some guitar, and a synth. So I started this track off with the bass, which is going to sound like this. I actually started this melody off with the bass, so I didn't really have any like guitar chord progression to follow. I wanted to start the melody off with the bass. I think the most important thing to do when you're playing Russian post-punk is make sure that you're playing really close to the bridge. What that's going to do is give you this sort of like nasally, plucky tone to your bass without even adding any effects. Very common for post-punk and indie tracks. And as far as mixing, I ran it through Guitar Rig, which loves to just take its time. Please open. Okay, so I'm using the maxed bass preset in Guitar Rig. Basically, you just want to run some sort of bass amp simulator. I personally use Guitar Rig because there's a free demo that I love and has a whole bunch of presets. I think it's amazing. Then we're going to throw a fruity reverb on the track. I'm pretty sure this is just the default. And then we have a chorus. This is the default chorus. I love the FL Studio default chorus. Then we have this really weird EQ. So I'm taking out a lot of the mid frequencies. I'm also taking out a good amount of the sub frequencies because we don't really need them. And this might be a bit extreme, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm very harshly boosting the high mid frequencies. I basically say this in every one of my videos, and I do this in every one of my beats, but I just watched like one mixing tutorial where they said if you want your bass to kind of come through more on phone speakers and stuff, just boost the high mids like super harshly. So I do that all the time. And then I'm adding a compressor, which I didn't even change the settings on, so I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't think this did anything, but I just wanted to feel fancy. This bass was also super loud, so I turned it down, but this is going to be very anecdotal based on whatever track you're on. And I made it mono. Another thing that I'm like, hey man, I saw it once, so I'm just going to keep doing it. I saw a stem breakdown for Territorial Pissing by Nirvana, which is like one of my favorite songs of all time. The track said bass mono. I make the bass mono. You know, after that, we're going to lay down the main guitar, which is very repetitive. It's very simple, and it's going to sound like this. Like I said, another very simple pattern. As far as mixing, give me about 2 years for Guitar Rig to load up. We're using the Chimney Rock guitar amp simulator within Guitar Rig. One of my favorite presets within Guitar Rig. It just really gives you that dirty, gritty amp simulator sound that is super prevalent in Molchat Doma tracks. Then we have an RC20 vinyl 4 preset, Fruity Reverb with the Drum Room preset, I believe, a default Fruity Chorus. Like I said, I'm always using the default Fruity Chorus, and then a parametric EQ. So this is kind of like a telephone EQ a bit. So I'm completely taking out the low frequencies. You You pretty much always want to do this for your guitars so it doesn't clash with the bass. And then I'm actually taking out a ton of the high frequencies as well. This is not very typical for your guitar tracks. Yeah, that's the EQ. Again, I turn this pretty low in the track. You guys do not have to do this. It's just what kind of worked in the mix for me in this beat. And then I went ahead and threw 2 one-shots from my upcoming synthesized Serum bank. So this is gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be completely free. It's gonna have guitar and Serum synth presets for alternative rock, post-punk, and shoegaze. Like I said, it's gonna be entirely free. First thing I'm gonna do is take this guitar one-shot and lay down this simple sort of thing that's gonna sound like this. I deeply apologize for the crackling of my computer, just really not doing so good today. This is super simple. Honestly, I am not a music theory guy, so I can't super easily break this down for you, but I just made the guitar pattern, I made the bass pattern, and then I kind of just played some cool stuff. But, you know, I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm kind of blanking today. But yeah, this guitar one shot off the bat is already sounding super fire, but I just wanted to run it through an amp sim just to give even more of a realistic feel. So I took this Old Soul preset from Guitar Rig, and then I threw some fruity reverb with the small room preset and a bit of a high cut. And then, as usual, took all the low end out. And I actually made this one stereo, so it's gonna be wider in the mix. It's gonna be, you know, just more full and fill things up. And then we are throwing a synth on the track. So what I basically did is, after I laid out the guitar pattern, I kind of saw the notes that were already there laid out for me. So I just took them and kind of switched them up and varied them a bit and played the synth pattern that's gonna sound like this. Very dark, very spooky. We're utilizing a lot of tension notes where basically they are, you know, one semitone apart, F and E, or, you know, the B and C here. We just want something dark, eerie, evil. And like I said, this is from my upcoming synthesized Serum bank. So if you guys are excited for that, run up the comments, all that cool stuff. It's going to be 100% free, hopefully dropping within the next like 2-3 weeks, something like that. The mixing for this is also very simple. We're adding a fruity reverb with a maxed out high cut. We're adding a fruity delay with the ping pong preset, and I'm going to turn the mix down to 37%. We're adding another compressor. You can copy these settings, but this is kind of generally how I do my compressors. It's very mild. It's not even really doing much. And then another EQ. We're boosting the mids, lowering the highs, and completely cutting out the lows. All right, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. If you guys like this video, leave a like. If you didn't, don't. Remember to hit the subscribe button. I post videos like twice a week, kinda, sometimes. I don't have a set schedule yet, but that's coming soon. Yeah, peace.